Hey y'all, I'm coming to you in the hunting clothes today because I'm getting ready to put in for some hunts. Arizona, they do the draw thing. So you got to submit to the lottery basically. So if I'm going to think it and believe it and go do it, I got to be believing it by putting on the clothes and get ready to rock and roll. So that's why I'm dressed in my hunting gear. That's just how I've done it. And every time I do that, I get drawn or something comes up really, really cool. So today is Wednesday, the 20th of May, and we're seeing again some flat movement in the rates. Let's talk about where we are there and what we've got going on with the market. First off here, so we're gonna go back to Mortgage News Daily and look at the MBSs, and how it's continuing to stay on that flat line and trying to maintain its position the way that the Fed is putting the money in. Now, look, we got to look at now. I've finally realized I got to look at these other coupons a little bit more too. As you see, we've lost a little bit of ground, and we're not keeping that flat line as much in some of the lower coupons. You get to the 3.5, you get to the 3, you start seeing these coupons taking a little bit on the chin here and there. Today we got a good day in the 3, at least. And here's why I started finding out that I've got to. It's not something I've had to do much of in the past, because usually with it staying within that range of the 4% with for real estate investments, 4s and 5s, I've always looked at that 4.0 and the 4.5 as far as that coupon is concerned. But now, since we see this wide range we're dealing with, we got to start looking at other coupons. And those other coupons, I had my secondary marketing guys connect with me yesterday and talk to me about this, how depending upon the rate that you're quoting, you have to look at a different coupon. So since now the way that they're pushing us, we start getting to the low 4s, they're having to price that off of the 3% coupon and in the high 3s. So with us seeing things potential with the 25% down type of loans, being able to get into those low 4s, high 3s on occasion, depending upon where things are in the market, we got to look at the 3% coupon. If it's moving negative, like we're looking at right here, like we saw, that negative movement actually causes higher prices per rate. So if we were at 3.875 a little while ago, and let's just say the cost for that day was like a quarter of a percent, but then the next day we saw some pretty significant movement to the negative. It went from a quarter percent to like a 0.5% cost or 3/8% cost. So looking at each coupon, we get to see how those costs move. You start getting into the lower 4s, 4.2 and on up in today's scenario. Now he says right here, these grids change daily, so it won't be accurate forever. So we're looking at 3.5 coupon we got to look at for the low to mid 4s. Now you start getting into the higher 4s, we got to look at the 4% coupon. So just know when you start seeing the volatility, if we're talking and then one day we start out our conversation about interest rates, and then all of a sudden we get ready to lock because it's taken a month or so to get the property rehabbed, or maybe 2 months or 3 months. Now we go back and look at, there could be a significant change. We got to consider, why did that happen? So we're looking at the 3% coupon. We start off in the high 3s, and then all of a sudden we saw it drop down here. You're going to see a cost differential. So let's take a look at what that cost differential might be. So let's just say we're looking at this day here, April 28th, and let's say it closed out at 105.45, right? So, and let's say we're at par that day. There was no points being charged. Well, then we go here to this day, 104.88. You're looking at that. You're looking at somewhere in the range of 45, 50. It's almost 60 points. So that cost will go up to 0.625%. You cost 5/8 to get that same rate. Like, it's a basic idea of how to understand that. So just know now, when you think about this, I mean, I've never had to look at it in this broad a spectrum before. Again, it gets back to the reason we're at this broad spectrum. It has to do with the servicing side of it. A lot of things are going on here I'm having to get a little bit better educated on how they're pricing these things, more so. So I want to share that with you guys, that it's not a simple science. It wasn't even a simple science when I was telling you about the MBSs to begin with. Now it's become even more complicated science, where you see that depending upon where you're at, you have to figure out what your cost is going to be based upon movement on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis. That being the situation, keep an eye on this, watch it, ask questions. We'll try and connect as quick as we can. It's madness right now. I had to get up at 3:30 this morning just to get stuff done so I can be ready to take on the day. I'm already 7 minutes behind on everything. I'm behind trying to get this video done. So another thing that I wanted to point out is the next step in where your value is in investment real estate. So we talked before, amortization, right? You know, you got somebody living in your property, they're paying the loan. If somebody reasonably is in that for the entire 30 years and paying that down, when you factor that 80% loan to value over 30 years, divided into your 20%, every year you're seeing a 13.33% of your 20% being added to it. That's pretty cool, right? Then we got into what we talked about last time. We talked about being able to raise rents because of inflation. Average of 3.2%, 3.3% nationally. If you did 3% and you had a $200 a month cash flow, you can see a 15% gain the next year. Now, of course, I've had a lot of people say, well, that's provided your taxes and insurance stay the same. Well, we know that, right? But you're still getting a compound growth. Every time you raise rents, you're getting a compound growth on your cash flow. I was talking with some folks out in Alabama yesterday where they're showing me their $200 a month cash flow, but the second year they're bringing it up by $25 a month. That's a 12% increase when we ran the numbers on their specific cash flow. I'm giving you general numbers, but that 12% is 12%. That's still awesome, right? So just know that it compounds over time. Even though rents are going to, taxes are going to go up, you know, insurance is going to go up, those things are going to change, but you can combat that and still see compound growth where other sectors of investment don't offer that. Now we're going to get into what we're seeing for how inflation benefits you even more. Now, I know I put that out on other conversations, but we're taking this a little bit of a deeper conversation. So let's just say today, in fact, I probably need to start this as of today. Let's put this 5/20/2020. You closed on this deal today at about 4.75% rate. Now, I don't know what the APR is here. This is just running numbers on what a principal and interest payment would be. An $80,000 purchase, $80,000 loan, $100,000 purchase, putting 20% down, same numbers we've been talking. Over that 30 years, you're going to pay back the $80,000 in principal. That's what we're showing here. The interest at 4.75% for the next 30 years would equal out to be $70,234. That's $150,234 paid in principal and interest over 30 years. Often people say, man, why would I do that? That's a lot of money I'm spending. But the benefit here is when you do a 30-year fixed loan, the payment every month stays exactly the same, $417.32 for the entire 30 years. Look at that, 360 months of payments you're going to have there, going all the way back to the very beginning, $417.32. But when you recalculate that dollar every single month as you're making a payment, as it compares to the value of the dollar the day you borrowed the $80,000 to buy the property, when that dollar is devaluing, we looked at inflation last week, 7.3% is what Shadow Stats is claiming with John Williams. Well, let's just say 7% inflation. That's what we're claiming right here. When you factor that 7% in over the next 30 years, you're not paying the $80,000 in principal. You're not even paying the $70,000 in interest. You're paying $62,726.03 in actual dollar value. Keep the money, pay it slow. Keep that cash flow differential. Don't pay it off any faster if you don't have to. Use that to expand your holdings. Keep growing more investment real estate. That right there is the other huge, huge, huge benefit to investment real estate. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. It's been said by Einstein. People want to avoid compound interest. They take their cash flows and pay off their properties earlier, thinking that they're getting ahead when they're not. Inflation is killing compound interest. That's like taking two negatives, rubbing their noses together, shoving them a 10 by 10 and let them kick the piss out of each other for you. They're benefiting you by doing that. So living in an inflationary environment is not a bad thing if you have your money in the right place. So real estate investment, from what I've seen, what I've analyzed, my own personal thoughts, is Aaron Chapman's thoughts. You can take them and throw them out the window if you want. It looks to me like this is the one place where a person can really take advantage of two negatives: compound interest that you're obligated to, and inflation that affects your dollar. When you put those together in this environment, you win. And you see how there's a compound repayment growth in your investment. That 20,000 becomes hundreds of % return when you factor all the things in. So there's just a couple of things that kick around in your mind when you're thinking about, do I do this? Do I not? Do I go into some other sector? Sure, there's other places to go and invest, but this is a great place for people to invest. So also just want to remind you guys, if you don't have your Master Key System book yet, get it. Start your morning routine. You can go into the links that are provided in this email. You can go to where you can order at. I believe we provided that link. I hope we did. You can also order the books that I have produced. I got 3 more coming out soon. We'll let you know when those are coming. The tool I just showed you, app builders are working on that for me right now. I'll be releasing, hopefully within the next few months, an app that'll have all the calculators you need for lending to help you to be prepared for financing. Appreciate you always watching. Any feedback is always appreciated. And any sort of reviews you can give us on Amazon for the books, also appreciated. Honest reviews. I don't care if it's a 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. As long as you're willing to tell me why, I would love to absorb any of the information to be able to get better at what I do. I've only been reading books in reality since 2015. I started with The Goal by Eli Goldratt, and then it's compounded from there. And now I'm writing them. But just because I'm writing doesn't mean I'm good at it. Just want to hear from people what can make me better. Thank you, guys.